It's not saying that they're always going to get it right. Of course not. But that I need to have the humility to say that people in the early church were closer in space and time and culture and language than we are today. That they were taught by the disciples or the disciples of the disciples themselves. That therefore the way that they read the Bible shouldn't simply be discounted flat out as if we know better than all of them. So that was the initial sort of move that caused me to really rethink some of these presuppositions. I think to go back to the issue of historical critical or historical grammatical interpretation, I think there's a lot of value there. I don't think that my pre-modern hermeneutic, if you want to call it that, or use of presupological exegesis is necessarily invalidating that kind of analysis. Because at the end of the day, I think they are asking and answering different questions. So the way we could put this together, we could put it together in a couple different ways. To go back to my example of Psalm 2, a historical critical scholar would say, okay, obviously, this person living 1000 BC knows nothing about, Christ, the Trinity, all that. This is very obviously a Davidic enthronement hymn, that this was written to be read or sung when a new king in the line of David was crowned. Okay, I think that's very plausible. I think that very much makes sense as the original setting of Psalm 2. But I have a presupposition that the historical critical scholar doesn't have, which is that all of Scripture has the same single divine author. And because God is the divine author, and because all of Scripture tells a story centered on Jesus Christ, which is what the church fathers believed, that it is perfectly fair game for me to read Psalm 2, not simply as a Davidic enthronement hymn, but in the fullness of what God as the ultimate author intended for it to be, which is a peeling away of the heavens and allowing us to see this discourse between God the Father and God the Son.